Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're finally demystifying the world's most vital, yet honestly completely invisible software infrastructure. Have you ever looked at a massive global corporation and just wondered, how on earth do they keep track of all their international logistics, their supply chains, their finances, without just collapsing into total chaos? Well, you're about to find out. We're decoding a system that is literally an absolute titan in the tech world. It powers the modern economy, but somehow it remains a total mystery to pretty much anyone outside of corporate IT. So, let's just dive right in.
I want to start off aggressively here with just one massive number, 77%. Just let that sink in for a second, right? In this vast, sprawling, crazy, interconnected global economy we live in, 77% is a staggering, almost unbelievable majority of literally anything, especially when we're talking about global market share. So, what exactly is this number?
Well, here is the mind-boggling truth. 77% of the world's transaction revenue touches an SAP system. No joke. That means the silent engine running the entire global economy is this one specific software ecosystem. So when you buy a coffee or purchase a new car or, just order a package online, there's a massive probability that this software was just quietly humming in the background. It was making sure your money was routed correctly, the global inventory was tracked, and that your physical product was shipped straight to your door without a single hitch.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with number 1, the $100 billion secret. Then 2, what exactly is SAP? 3, the heart of business, ERP. 4, navigating S/4HANA and Fiori. And finally, number 5, master versus transactional records.
Okay, so part 1. The $100 billion secret. Let's explore the sheer scale and reach of this massive corporate giant.
And this really illustrates the magnitude of what we're talking about. Look at the industries here. We're talking everything from the smartphone sitting right there in your pocket, to cars rolling off the assembly line, to your favorite fast food burger. SAP serves over 440,000 customers across 180 countries. Actually, 70% of the top 500 companies in the whole world rely on this system every single day just to function. They are the #1 non-American software seller in the world, with over 100,000 employees. Their headquarters basically functions like its own sovereign city. The sheer volume of global commerce flowing through these servers is just unparalleled.
Moving right along to part 2. What exactly is SAP? Let's peel back that first layer of the onion and define what this thing actually is.
First off, the name itself is a German acronym. It stands for Systeme, Anwendung, Produkte in der Datenverarbeitung, which simply translates to Systems, Applications, and Products in Data Processing. It was actually created way back in the 1970s by 5 former IBM employees who had this vision for a standardized software solution for real-time business processing. But hey, you absolutely do not need to memorize that German phrase. Think of it kind of like BMW, right? Which stands for Beersche Terrainwerke. You definitely don't need to know how to pronounce that to drive the car, and you definitely don't need to speak German to use this software. Now, there's a common point of confusion we definitely need to clear up, and I love using the Coca-Cola analogy for this. When someone says Coca-Cola, they might mean the massive corporate entity, or they might just mean the fizzy drink in your hand. SAP is exactly the same way. On one hand, you have SAP the company, officially SAP SE, headquartered in Waldorf, Germany. On the other hand, you have SAP, the flagship software product that employees are actually logging into every day. So when a job posting asks for SAP experience or someone mentions an SAP implementation, they are talking about the software product, not the corporate headquarters.
All right, Section 3, the heart of business. ERP. Let's define the actual software category that SAP absolutely dominates.
So fundamentally, SAP is an ERP system. That stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Picture a massive, super complex global company for a second. You got a highly regulated finance department in London, an HR team managing thousands of folks in New York, a heavily automated manufacturing plant in Tokyo, and sales reps scattered all over the map. Now, if they're all using different, completely disconnected software, it is utter chaos. Procurement has no idea what manufacturing is doing, sales doesn't know what inventory is available, it's a mess. ERP is the ultimate solution to that siloed chaos. It basically acts as one massive, centralized digital brain that connects and manages all these core business operations in real time. It ensures that everyone everywhere across the globe is looking at the exact same data.
Which brings us to part 4, navigating S/4HANA and Fiori. Let's zoom down from that macro global view right to the modern interface that users actually see.
If you talk to a veteran systems architect or maybe an old-school SAP consultant, they might talk about the SAP GUI. That's the traditional, highly technical interface you might have seen around. For decades, it was the gold standard, extremely powerful but honestly visually dense. But to make things more accessible for modern users, SAP introduced the Fiori Launchpad. Fiori is actually this Italian-esque marketing term for SAP's modern, clean web-based user experience. It's beautifully designed, highly responsive, and way less intimidating for everyday users who are just logging in from a laptop or a tablet.
The crucial thing here is understanding how this Launchpad actually works. Think of it exactly like your smartphone. On your phone, you don't just hit one giant button to do every single thing. You use distinct, purpose-built apps. Inside SAP, the Launchpad is your personalized home base. It's intelligently organized into spaces, which are basically groupings based on your specific job role, and apps, which are the specific functions. So a finance manager space is going to look completely different from a warehouse worker space.
And when I say specific, I mean absolutely granular. For example, if you just type sales order into the system search bar, you don't just get one generic tool. No way. You will find exactly 43 specific apps dedicated purely to sales orders. There's an app to import them, one to create them, one to track them, one for mass changes. You get the idea. It perfectly illustrates how beautifully precise the architecture really is. Every single microtask in a corporate workflow has its own dedicated digital tool. This ensures really strict control and compliance across the entire organization.
All right, Section 5, Master versus Transactional Records. Let's dive into our final section and look at the micro-level mechanics of how this data is actually structured.
To make the underlying logic instantly click for you, we have to divide enterprise data into two distinct buckets. On one side, we have master records. These are your foundational pieces. They're meticulously maintained, and honestly, they don't change very often. We're talking about your list of vendors, your customer database, or the physical materials you sell. On the other side, you have transactional records. These are action-based, and they happen every single day. Thousands of times a day, actually. Things like generating a new sales order, cutting an invoice, recording a shipment. And the absolute golden rule here: you literally cannot have a transactional record without first having a master record to attach it to. It's a rigid structure, but it completely prevents data corruption and ensures flawless reporting.
To really grasp how deep and interconnected this master data goes in modern SAP, think of it kind of like a root system. You don't just jump in and create a customer. First, you create a foundational, centralized shell called a business partner. The sheer genius of this is that one business partner could act as a customer who buys products from you, while simultaneously acting as a vendor who you buy supplies from. It's just one unified record right at the top, with different specific roles, financial details, and logistics rules branching out underneath it, totally depending on how you're interacting with them that specific day.
Let's actually look over the shoulder of an SAP user to see this workflow in action. Step 1, they create that top-level business partner. Step 2, they drill down and add the specific customer role to that partner. Step 3, they input the specific company code and sales area, so the system knows exactly which global division is handling the money and, all the tax implications. Only then, at Step 4, can they finally generate a transactional document, like Standard Order 6582. Yeah, it definitely takes a bit more setup than your basic off-the-shelf software tool, but this deep, methodical architecture is exactly what lets these mega corporations scale flawlessly without losing a single cent or misplacing one piece of inventory.
So as we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. Just think about your day so far. Think about the brand of toothpaste you used this morning, the car you drove to work, the logistics company that delivered your packages, the coffee you grabbed on your break. This software is quite literally the invisible digital infrastructure of modern life. So how many SAP systems did you unknowingly interact with today? Honestly, the answer is probably a lot more than you think. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.